When the ancient Greeks told us about their mythological past and their gods, they weren't always talking about what was happening then. They was talking about things that happened way back, so far back that it would have been in Sumerian times, which is when, for example, Zeus was Enlil. And in the Greek mythology here, it says Zeus allowed the flood, which Enlil did, and 2 people survived by building an ark. So this is in Greek time, so it just happens that they're referring to something older. Now we've got the Sumerian tablet here that literally says how Enki told Noah how to build the ark. But let's go back to Greek times and see when these mythological floods happened. 9,000 years before the time of Solon. Now if you go with the Lost Book of Enki, the time frame of the actual flood according to the Sumerians would have been about 10,000 BC before Christ, so this would actually make around about the correct time frame. Just imagine that the Greek gods were not the Anunnaki gods. So for a moment now we can just imagine that these 12 new gods suddenly appeared on Earth, and they actually would walk down the streets with the humans. Even though they were double height of the humans, they would actually sometimes even romantically involved with little humans, just like the Sumerian gods or the Anunnaki. But they were flesh and blood. But the story goes that they couldn't die. They were immortal, and you would have to chop them up into millions of pieces and they still wouldn't die. Obviously that's a story that they would like to have put out there as an alien race, in my opinion, so that people would always worship them forever. Now where are they now? Why aren't they on Mount Olympus? I will be doing videos soon on where the Anunnaki, or as you can see I believe they were the Anunnaki gods, where they all went, so keep watching. While I'm talking about ancient Greece, there seems to be, certainly amongst the gods, an appetite for them to have relationships with their own kind. So for example, man, man, woman, woman. There is no descriptions that I'm aware of that sort of basically says that there is anything else other than a man and a woman. You know, there's nothing to sort of suggest that there's 100 different genders. They just basically did what they wanted to do. As with the Sumerian gods, you find that they would, you know, marry their half-sister and have relationships with their uncle and so on and so on. And so this, in my opinion, does seem to conclude once again that the Anunnaki, just so happens that the Greek gods do the same things that the Anunnaki gods do, which is why I still say they were one of the same. I still get asked why aliens use old tech, and that's regarding, for example, the Greece computer here that was found in a sunken ship and basically tells when the planets are coming around. There's no benefit that the planets, for the Greek people, whether or not the planets are going to be near or far, that was no benefit whatsoever. But to the Anunnaki, to know when their planet come nearer, it makes more sense. Now they built this because you got to remember there was only about 2,000 Anunnaki by the time this was built on Earth. That's not enough to go and make factories and, you know, mass produce things. They didn't need to mass produce anything. They just needed to build something that would actually work for them, and that's why they don't have the, you know, this in a tech format, I'm guessing. And also this doesn't require a battery, it's a wind-up operation, so this will last a lot longer than an iPhone, for example. And also you've got to remember they've got to teach people how to use it. Sometimes they may have needed humans to actually use a device, so showing them an iPhone is difficult. Showing them how to wind something like this makes a lot more sense. And also the Roswell stone here, this is just a stone, but watch my other videos, I do explain exactly what this is for. But basically this raised image here, which also matches a crop circle, has got magnetic in it, and just like we used to use magnets, magnetic tape, etc. for storing information, this is a star chart for the little greys, and they didn't care about packaging. You could say, oh, why isn't it all sophisticated and nice? Why is it a stone? Because the stone outlasts everything. So just bear that in mind when looking. Now also you've got this, the Oumuamua craft, which is basically a hollowed out lump of rock. You could say, but they could look, you know, they could build the Starship Enterprise. Why didn't they, you know, why cut a whole slab of rock out of a planet, because it makes more sense. Stop trying to think in the way that, you know, technology is better. Sometimes it's not. So it's easier to have a lump of rock flying through space than it is nuts and bolts that could go wrong. So you've got one whole solid lump here, which obviously is more airtight than loads of, you know, metal bits stuck together. So I'm just trying to show that, you know, please try and remember, you don't need technology. That's fantastic if you've got the power to survive, you know, for it to longevity. But if you run out of power, you're going to go back to that. And also, you need people to build that, and you only need it one off. So what's the point? You might as well just use this. So that's why the Anunnaki weren't using tech all the time, because it makes sense not to use tech all the time. 850 videos of paranormal, aliens, etc. Thank you so much. Those of you that sort of fairly recently joined, please feel free to go back and watch them from video number 1 onwards. Trust me, they do make a lot more sense when you watch them in order. They're also on YouTube and my website, which is ourtruehistory.co.uk. But something that's coming up on video number 1000, which you don't want to miss, is my version of what happened to the Anunnaki. Now, we know the Anunnaki left Mesopotamia, and I've did a Patreon video already on that, explaining why they left Mesopotamia and Egypt. So if you're interested in that, that's on my Patreon page. But I'm going to be explaining where the demigods went. And as far as I'm aware, no other researcher I know, I get told off for saying things where I'm the only person, but I do